Hey, what's up you guys? It's Emily. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. So I'm so excited to be back. I've been so crazy with school and stuff lately, but it feels really good to sit down in front of the camera. And I thought because I've been gone for so long, I would make a video that would help some of you guys. Maybe, potentially. So I know I'm kind of late to the game with this, and I wish I wasn't because summer semester was kicking my butt, and I wish I could have made this video sooner. But I thought that I would help you guys, and I apologize because this is United States version, but cheap places that college kids can go for summer vacation. So I'm a senior in college. I know what it feels like to not be able to afford to go places. Trust me, I get it. Even working a part-time job, you have other things to pay for. But I've collected some of the places I've gone. I've rated them on a scale, and then I've given you guys kind of the pros and cons so you guys can know what to expect when going. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Once again, trust me, I wish I could make like a Europe version of this, but I can't because I'm broke. Hopefully in the future. But yeah, so anyways, without further ado, let's just get right on into the video. Okay, so I have a list on my phone. I sat down, thought everything out, came out with a rating. Now, disclaimer, if you live there or if you've had a different experience where you think it should be rated higher or lower, I totally get that. This is just from my experience. You probably did different things than I did, which affected your rating differently. You probably had a different perspective on it. People like different things. So I understand, and if you want to feel free to give your personal rating and your personal feedback in the comment section, I would love to hear it, because maybe I didn't do something that I should have, or maybe you didn't like something that I did. I don't know. Anyways, so we're gonna start off. So pretty much I'll start out with New York's rating. I'll give New York an 8.2. Now, I know that sounds low because a lot of people love New York, and I like New York too, but the cons of New York is that, first of all, it's expensive. Like I said, it is on the upper budget. Now, you're gonna have to work ways around. You can go to New York on a budget. You just need to figure out how to spend your money there. So you don't want to go to these expensive restaurants because New York can be so expensive. You want to stay in these like little local diners or like these little cafes, and once again, it's still going to be somewhat expensive, but I'm sure if you guys set a budget, you could swing it. So right off the bat, that's con number one. Con number two, traffic. Traffic is so bad, and I mean, I don't feel like I need to say that anymore about that because everybody knows New York rush hour, terrible. Just forget about it. You need to get to where you're going before rush hour and stay there until after rush hour, or you're just gonna spend all this time in a car or in transit or anything like that. So that's just something to think about. However, I'm gonna name some pros now. So the first pro I have is the environment is so alive. If you are an extrovert and you thrive off being around people, I do too, and I just love the feeling of like being in a crowded place, and minus the traffic, but I love being in a crowded place, and it just feels really good to be around a bunch of people. Everybody's doing their own thing. It just feels really good. I mean, that's the only way I can really explain it. There are so many things to do in New York. If you stay in New York, you never have to worry about running out of things to do. Some of these stuff you don't even have to pay for, like Central Park. I don't believe you have to pay to get in. I'm pretty sure because it's just a park. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Central Park is just beautiful, full of scenery, full of things to just see and do. Then you have Times Square. Need I say more? You have a lot of shopping, a lot of little cool places to stop by, restaurants, things like that. This is where I got a lot of my, what do they call that? Souvenirs for New York is in Times Square. So it's just really cute, really fun, and overall I like New York, but I'll give it an 8.2 just because of the traffic. It really interfered, which is just to be expected, and also the expense. I kind of felt like I was tiptoeing around my stay, so that's just something to note. Next up, I have Atlantic City, which if you don't know where Atlantic City is, it's in New Jersey, I believe. I think I should know this. I think it's in New Jersey. But it's pretty much just a big gambling place. I mean, that's really, I mean, there's other things to do, obviously, but it's like casino after casino after casino after casino. So that brings me to my number one con, which just kind of knocks 2 points off right off the bat, is that if you're not of gambling age, which 21 in the United States, there's really no point for you to go. I mean, of course you could sit at the beaches and stuff, but other than the beaches, there's not going to be much for you to do. You can walk the boardwalk and sit at the beach, but if you're trying to make a vacation out of that, I feel like that's a one-day thing. It's not really like you have a whole lot to choose from. So that definitely is something to consider, especially if you're a younger viewer. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going because your options are definitely limited. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the pros now of Atlantic City. Good environment. It's once again very lively. Everybody just seems to be in a good mood. The scenery is beautiful. There's lots of beaches, which is another pro. Beaches, 100%. I love Atlantic City for the beach. I liked laying by it. The water was perfect. Okay, so sorry my camera died, so if the lighting changed or I changed or anything like that, that's why. But anyways, I think I was done rambling about Atlantic City, so let's just move on. And the next place I have is Chicago, and I gave Chicago a 9.5. I really like Chicago. However, the cons of Chicago is it is somewhat expensive. Once again, you're going to run into that problem when you visit those bigger cities. So it is somewhat expensive, but doable. Once again, you just have to budget correctly. And also traffic kind of goes back into the New York thing. Around rush hour, it is going to be busy. So you need to watch for that. You need to get to a location before rush hour, or just plan to stay after rush hour or anything like that. So now I'm going to say the pros of Chicago. So when I went to Chicago, I did a lot of shopping. So they had lots of stores, little outlets, things like that. It was super fun, and you never really ran out of things to do. Which brings me to my next thing, which is the Magnificent Mile. So what the Magnificent Mile is it's kind of just like a strip where there's lots of restaurants, lots of shopping things to do. There's hotels there and stuff. So I mean, it's just a really cool little strip of Chicago. If you guys are interested, that would probably like be a day's adventure, honestly. You could make a day out of it. So that's just a little something to think about. And then also, let's see what else I have. Okay, so there's lots of things to do also in Chicago. So there's Millennium Park, the Field Museum of Natural History, and the Sky Deck. So those once again are just little things to do if you're feeling the mood. If any of those things appeal to you, that's just some ideas for you guys. And so that brings me to the end of Chicago. But once again, I really like Chicago. I think it was really awesome, which is why I gave it a 9.5, obviously. But so now we're gonna move on to Boston. Boston, I gave Boston a 9. Really enjoyed Boston. I love the feel of Boston and everything. However, the con of Boston is that, well, once again, you're running into the expensive little thing where you're gonna have to budget properly because it is a bigger city, but it could be done. You just need to budget properly. And another thing I would consider is that parking there is so expensive. They do have parking lots, don't get me wrong, but an hour of parking is upward like $15. So, and I really don't think you're only going to be out of your car for an hour. So then you like keep racking up all this money. So my tip, if you are going to Boston, is to definitely Uber. I don't know what the Uber prices are there because I did the parking thing, but I feel like it has to be less than that because the parking there was ridiculous. And you don't really need to Uber around once you get down into the city, but getting to the city, I would really recommend it. Just a little tip from me to you if you're going to Boston. But Boston does have a lot of pros, if I could pull them up. My phone really just did not recognize my face. That's good. So lots of museums. There's the Museum of Science, Museum of Fine Arts, and Boston Children's Museum. All really cute museums if you guys are into that. I personally am. I know that wouldn't strike everybody, but just a little idea. Really good food. I mean, just really good restaurants and places for you to eat. And then good nightlife. So there's bars, improv, comedy clubs, things like that. If you're more of a night owl, there's definitely things for you to do there. So you don't have to worry about doing everything during the daytime. And that brings us to the end of Boston. Once again, I gave it a 9. I had a really good time there. Just like I said though, be careful of the parking because that will rack up money really fast. Uber, or Lyft. Okay, so next place I have is West Palm Beach. I gave West Palm Beach a 10. West Palm Beach is in Florida. Oh my gosh, that has to be my favorite place I've ever vacationed. The only con of it is it's hot, but it's Florida, so I mean, what did you expect? I did get really bad sunburn, so if you're fair like me, be sure to lather up the sunscreen because the UV rays there are crazy. So the first pro of West Palm Beach is the beaches are beautiful. I had such a good day laying out, and the good part about their beaches are that they aren't super crowded. So if you go to Palm Beach, which is where the beaches that I went are, so West Palm Beach is right next to Palm Beach. Palm Beach is super bougie, so I kind of stayed in like both. Like my hotel was in, I hope I'm not losing anybody. My hotel was in West Palm Beach, but I spent most of my time in Palm Beach. That made sense. I don't know why I thought that was gonna be complicated. So we would just travel over to it, 10 minutes, 10-minute drive. We drove. And so, I mean, there was just so much stuff to do there. The beaches were super not crowded. I feel like I was there, I was the day after the 4th of July, so July 5th. So I'm wondering if it was a weekday, but I just know that the beaches weren't crowded at all. Second of all, there is just so much stuff to do in Palm Beach. So it has this really bougie strip of, you know, shopping, and I know the title's on a budget and stuff, so don't feel inclined. But it has like a Neiman Marcus, it has Louis Vuitton, all of these really bougie places, and it's just super cool. Then my favorite thing that I did is I just think paranormal stuff is interesting. I don't necessarily believe in it, but I also find interest from it. So they have this thing called, let me make sure that I'm not butchering the name because I want you guys to go if you ever go to West Palm Beach or Palm Beach. It's called Ghost Tour, Ghost of Palm Beach. So pretty much what it is they just walk you through the city, and they give you little stories about things that have happened, which is super interesting, and it was my favorite part of the whole vacation, hands down. I'm pretty sure we found tickets on Groupon for relatively cheap, so definitely do that. Also, Groupon, hello, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. Groupon is your best friend when you're down there in those big cities. Use it because you get stuff for a discount, so that's just a little tip as well. Also for Palm Beach, I'm pretty sure we paid $100 for our hotel room a night, which isn't horrible, isn't like major cheap, but the hotel did include parking for free and breakfast for free, so that is such a large chunk of money that you're saving in West Palm Beach, I'm sorry. If you stay in this hotel, we stayed at the Hyatt. So the Hyatt in West Palm Beach is where I stayed. Super modern. The whole city looks so modern and beautiful. So once again, if you're looking for a vacation place for super cheap, this is my #1 option on the list. I really would recommend it. So moving on, we have Pittsburgh. I'm gonna give Pittsburgh a 10. Pittsburgh is my favorite place to go ever. It's not really a vacation spot for me because I live about an hour and a half away. But I have stayed there overnight to like go out and do stuff. So I do consider it a vacation. So once again, you have really good museums. You have the Carnegie museums, you have the Andy Warhol museums, everything like that. Such a good place if you're into those type of things. Also, you have really good food. So you have really bougie restaurants in Pittsburgh, but then you have those cheaper cafes where you could go for like 10 bucks for food, and it's just really nice. It's really aesthetically pleasing too. So that's something to keep in mind. Good nightlife, there's lots of bars. If you're into that, if you're not 21, then you might not be into it. And then you never really run out of things to do. I feel like I've been to Pittsburgh so many times and I don't feel as though I've touched on everything that I could. So every time I go back, I feel like I could do something new. So that's really exciting, especially if you're just going there for vacation one time. I mean, I know you won't run out of things to do. And then just a con in Pittsburgh, obviously traffic during rush hour, which isn't really as bad as the other places, but I mean, it does happen. So okay, and last but not least, I went to Washington DC 2 separate times. I gave Washington DC a 9. I liked it. The cons is if you're going there, it's gonna be this isn't necessarily a con, and I don't want it to come off, but for some people it might be. You are going to go to Washington DC and do probably more educational things than you would do relaxing. Now that's not a bad thing. I personally like that. I think it's refreshing to learn about new stuff, but if you're in the mood to go sit on a beach or go shopping or anything like that, You can do the shopping in Washington, but I wouldn't recommend it if those are your like 2 priorities, because, well, I'll tell you why in a minute. So the pros of Washington, okay, Lincoln Memorial, super cool. You have the Holocaust Museum. I've been there both times that I went to Washington. I think it's a must-see. It's very sad, but at the same time, it's very informative, and I feel like it's something we should learn about because it was a big part of our history. There's the US Capitol and things like that. Once again, not a big shopping place or anything, but you do get excitement out of those type of things if you're into that. So yeah, also it's a really well-kept city. I mean, the city itself is just so clean and pretty. So that's something to consider as well. I really enjoyed it both times I went, and I would recommend it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My camera died 3 times in the process of making this, but I stuck it out because I want you guys to have some good vacation ideas if you live in the US. So if you don't live in the US, please give your recommendations for different countries down below. I feel like that would really help each other out. And even if you do live in the US, leave cheap recommendations down below for people in the US, and then that way we could all help each other out. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Like always, I had a really good time making it for you. I'm so happy to be back in front of the camera. I love you guys so much, and I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.